All right, y'all. Welcome back to 18 Outdoors. If you haven't like, please subscribe, share, tell your buddies. We're going to be in a continuation of the buck lessons, and this is just lessons that I have learned, again, that through various bucks, and just trying to share some of the experiences with y'all, just kind of pass it on that way. It might help some of the younger guys or somebody that's not as experienced, but we're going to start with some lessons learned by this buck, the old crooked foot. So, and what happened with him was, like y'all know, that I was 31 years old when I killed him, so that was my first good buck. So this area was like a big SMZ that we had found where they had cut the tops, and the tops run toward the creek, a big creek, and they left them hardwoods there. Well, on them tops there was like a bunch of points in a row, and a road on the other side of it, and them does especially, and maybe the bucks, but the does, there were some sagegrass spots in back where they planted these pines, and the does were bedding in these sagegrass spots at times on these a variety of different points, So I found a place where I could wade a creek, say a half a mile or so, and climb up a tree on this big creek and be able to see toward 2 or 3 of them points. And my thought process was that, a buck would, he could bed on the hardwood side of the points on the end of them, but the does were bedding on the tops and that sagegrass stuff. So if does were coming in heat and the wind was blowing, he could tell whenever they were coming in heat, and then he could kind of keep up with them. So, well, this situation, I was hoping either there was a road a half a mile away across there that people would come in maybe, and they might push deer toward me, or a buck would come checking them points or checking them areas for them does. So I got in that tree. It was cold morning, it snowed that night, and I'm talking about, it got down real cold. But anyway, I stayed up in this tree all day, and at 1 something, maybe a little bit before, but I killed this deer at 1 something. But anyway, I just seen a piece of movement already down the point, and the sun had come up, high center, but there were still shadows. And all I could see every now and then was a piece of a deer moving. And I would look, and all I could see, I could just tell it was a deer. I never could see no rack for a long time. And he would move a little bit and stop. Move a little bit more and stop. And this seemed like it went on forever. But everywhere he would stop at would be in some kind of funky shadow, or behind trees. And he'd come off this one point, come all the way down, and was going up another point before I even figured out that he had a rack, and a rack, that's a good sized rack, not no monster rack, but a decent enough rack you think you could see. But I couldn't tell. He was moving so slow and so methodically that it just taught me so much that if you're not paying attention, if you're playing with the phone or whatever, or distracted, or just not feeling confident, I might not have never seen him, or you might not have ever seen a deer doing this, but I'm telling you, he would stop in just a perfect place, and just so happened I could tell he was a buck, and I shot him. It was a buck only hunt, but a good lesson that just how slow, how long, and how methodically he stopped in them shadows, and it was amazing. That a mature buck, you need to kind of understand that. So if you're hunting, say SMZ or edges, edges is one of the key things. Deer love edges of some sort, and a buck especially wants to stay close to an edge where he can get back in it. So the best way to come in is through a bottom or through open woods to watch them edges, watch where you can see in them. Don't actually get in them edges, because once you step in there, you're intruding to where he's using to travel. So I always try to set up on an SMZ or edge where I'm set up more in the open woods, seeing into the pines or the cutover a little bit, not all the way in them, or the swamps. The same. Use them edges, to your advantage, and just pay attention. You got to be on your game watching, because where them bucks are going to be at is the thicker stuff. You're only going to have a hole every now and then. If you're not watching, they get through that hole, your shooting lane, and then they're gone. You can't do any cutting on these public land places, so you've got to set up, try to find a tree where you can see a few holes. Of course, you're going to have sign that you're looking for, but just pay attention that or observe or learn that a buck travels or walks under a normal situation a lot different than the other deer. He ain't just gonna come strolling through. If he's just gonna come sneaking. He's lived that long, so he's gonna be very, patient, using his nose, using his sight, using his ears. So always pay attention to that. And another thing is optics. Optics. The cheaper optics might not see through into a shadow. So I'm not, I ain't picking on anybody's scopes, or I'm not going to name any scopes. I got a certain kind I like, but the clearer the glass, and always try to keep your scope on low power, where to pull in more light to see into them shadows. If you got it turned up 4 or 6 or 8, I like mine on 3, 2.5. It just depends. I like lower powered scopes for Alabama hunting or tight quarters hunting. And so, because you can pull in more light and you can see an area if one is moving pretty fast or running, you can get them in the scope faster. So anyway, optics, that sagegrass stuff, does love that to bed in. Bucks can bed on them points below the sagegrass where them does is at. So keep that in mind. Think about this stuff when you're planning your hunts. Edges are real key, in the shadows. How the buck uses them shadows, and I'm hoping this is helping y'all out some. So, but always, you got to be real observant. Bucks it's just crazy what they can do and how they can slip through without you seeing them. I got another story. Is like, this has only been like 5 or 6 years ago. I'm in between 2 pine thicket lights, where I can see both edges and some points, and I heard a buck grunt on down in front of me. Then later on, I seen a deer move in the edge of some pines, and it disappeared. Looked through my scope, couldn't see it. Looked back down, put my gun back down. Then I'd see it over here, and I'd look, and it was just always stopping somewhere where I couldn't see it. Then finally, this buck ended up seeing me moving. And when I seen it hop off, I could tell it had a good chocolate rack, and I was sick. But that sucker, and this is over a 30 minutes or so time frame that this buck moved like that. So lesson here is being real observant, paying attention. Anything out of the ordinary, flat lines, parallel lines in the woods is not very common except for blowdowns, logs or something. So anything that you see as a parallel line, especially in shadows, make sure you identify what it is, because it could be a deer standing there and you just see the edge of its back or something. So the more attention to detail that you do is just going to help. It's just, it can be tough on you. It's going to be boring or whatever, but you gotta just stay observant, because them big bucks, and they can get by you without you knowing it. So hope y'all learn anything from this, and keep up with us. We appreciate it. Subscribe, like again, share, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Hey, gotta get them flat. See y'all. Thank y'all for watching this video. Hey, we appreciate y'all's support. Hey, if you don't care, if you haven't got a book yet, Amazon, get a book. We got hard copies now available. It took me a while to get them, but hey, they're on there now. Again, we appreciate it. Appreciate everybody's hard work that helped us to get this done. Lifetime achievement. So anyway, you can get one, and thanks again for y'all's support. Subscribe, like, tell your friends, and we'll keep coming up with these videos. So we'll see y'all on the next one.